What happens when the WNBA's loudest personality suddenly fades into the background? Aja Wilson got a front row seat to that reality. And it didn't go smoothly. After months of build-up, her long-awaited signature shoe barely made a ripple, just as Caitlin Clark's player-exclusive Kobe's exploded across the basketball world. Almost overnight, Clark's shoes became everywhere, dominating courts, social media feeds, and locker rooms alike. The numbers tell the story. Caitlin Clark's Kobe PEs sold out almost instantly and quickly became the most worn shoes among professional basketball players. Meanwhile, Wilson's signature sneaker struggled to gain traction, with one of its few high-profile appearances coming from her boyfriend Bam Adebayo. Nike took notice, and they didn't hesitate. Behind the scenes, momentum is shifting fast, with sources indicating Wilson's campaign is being quietly phased out as the brand prepares to go all in on Caitlin Clark's massive 9-figure signature line set to launch this spring. And it gets even better. In just a moment, you'll hear directly from Caitlin herself as she reveals exclusive details about her upcoming signature shoe, including the cutting-edge technology behind it. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Drop a comment below and let us know. Are you excited for Caitlin Clark's signature shoe?
If you look at the top shoes worn in the NBA, obviously it is the Nike Kobe 6 and Nike Kobe 5. But if you guys don't know, the most popular colorways of the two most popular shoes are both Caitlin Clark colorways. That's kind of...
Nike's leadership was stunned when they reviewed their 2025 performance reports. What they saw didn't make sense on paper. NBA players were overwhelmingly choosing Caitlin Clark branded shoes over every other option on the market. Across the league, the most common sneakers on NBA courts weren't tied to LeBron, KD, or any current superstar. Instead, the Kobe 6 Caitlin Clark PE and the Kobe 5 Indiana Fever PE had quietly become the most worn basketball shoes in professional play. And this wasn't just a strong showing. It was something the brand had never seen before from a WNBA affiliated release. Here's the part that shocked Nike the most. These aren't even Caitlin Clark's official signature sneakers. They're simply player exclusive models stamped with her name and team colors. Yet NBA stars, athletes with unlimited access to the most advanced footwear technology on earth, were personally asking Nike for her PEs instead of wearing their own signature lines. The demand spiraled so quickly that Nike's basketball division had to step in and implement special allocation lists just to keep distribution under control. That's how rare this moment is, and why everything is about to change.
Coming. And I think what it really means is, number one, Nike is going all in on Caitlin Clark after a while, after a little bit of a dormant period. Number two, 2026 is going to be just absolutely massive for her from a marketing standpoint because of that injury. And, you know, because there's going to be such a thirst and hunger to see her play.
At the same time, Aja Wilson's actual signature sneaker is sitting untouched on store shelves. This is a shoe that's been out for months, backed by a full-scale marketing push and wide retail distribution, yet it's barely moving, and the comparison gets downright uncomfortable when you look closer. Wilson's signature line is essentially being worn by one person in the entire NBA, her boyfriend, Bam Adebayo. That's the list, one player. Meanwhile, every time Caitlin Clark's shoes hit the market, they disappear almost instantly. Each release sold out within minutes. The resale market went crazy, with buyers paying 2 or even 3 times retail just to secure a pair. Sneaker forums flooded with frustrated fans posting screenshots of failed checkouts and empty carts. Nike's own website buckled under the pressure, crashing repeatedly as traffic surged during each drop. And here's the key point people overlook. Professional players don't choose footwear because of personal relationships or endorsement obligations. They choose what gives them an edge, what performs when the stakes are highest. So when NBA athletes actively hunt down Caitlin Clark's shoe technology instead of sticking with long-established signature lines from championship caliber stars, it sends a very clear message. It tells you everything you need to know about the performance, innovation, and on-court trust behind her footwear.
Is game more in terms of their hype than Aja Wilson because of Caitlin Clark. Because let's be real, like Caitlin Clark is a like Aja Wilson is being objectively known as the GOAT right now, and nobody was calling Aja Wilson to go before.
Nike's internal sales data told a brutal story for Aja Wilson. Her signature shoe struggled so badly that some retailers actually asked to send unsold pairs back. Major sporting goods chains quietly scaled down their orders for upcoming colorways, signaling a clear lack of confidence. The sneaker that was meant to cement Wilson as Nike's flagship women's basketball athlete didn't become a staple. It became a familiar sight on clearance shelves. At the exact same time, Caitlin Clark's influence was spreading far beyond the WNBA. Her impact reached straight into the heart of the NBA, where players began wearing her shoes during nationally televised games. That kind of exposure is priceless. Every time an NBA star steps onto the court in Clark's exclusives, it functions as a live endorsement seen by millions, without Nike having to pay a single cent. No ad campaign could ever replicate that level of authenticity, and the numbers made the conclusion unavoidable. Clark's pull doesn't stop at women's basketball. She resonates with the entire sport, from grassroots fans to the highest level of professional play. That realization stopped Nike's executives in their tracks. They knew they weren't just looking at a hot streak or a viral moment. They were holding something transformative, a brand presence capable of redefining their entire women's basketball strategy. That data became the blueprint for the most consequential decision Nike has ever made in women's basketball.
The reaction at the time, the delayed not denied post from Asia Wilson, and then Asia's shoe comes out and so on and so forth, and that was a big rollout. And there was speculation that Nike was worried about stepping on toes or offending anybody by launching CC's shoe ahead of everybody else, even though she got the big deal and is the most popular. And all that, but it's
behind the scenes at Nike's headquarters, a decision was taking shape that would send shockwaves through the company's women's basketball operation. After months of watching disappointing sales reports stack up, executives made a quiet but decisive call. Aja Wilson's signature shoe line would be pushed to the sidelines. And it wasn't just the numbers raising red flags. Inside the company, concerns were growing about how Wilson's public actions were beginning to clash with Nike's brand image. The more time passed, the harder it became to justify keeping her front and center. When word reached Wilson about Nike's shift in direction, the response wasn't calm or measured. According to sources familiar with the situation, what followed caught even veteran executives off guard. Instead of professional frustration, they witnessed what was described as a full-blown breakdown. Wilson repeatedly demanded closed-door meetings, pressing leadership with the same question over and over. How were Caitlin Clark's player-exclusive shoes outperforming her actual signature line in both sales and popularity? It was a moment that exposed just how dramatically the balance of power had changed.
Hey, Caitlin! Can you make it from there?
Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there.
No chance.
Caitlin, from me to left?
You got it.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin from here might be impressive. Am I right?
Whatever, Che.
From right here.
From there!
The boys wanna be her, the child wanna be her.
The tension boiled over once Aja Wilson realized Nike was redirecting its marketing dollars toward Caitlin Clark's upcoming CC1 launch. That shift became impossible to ignore when details leaked about a massive nationwide campaign packed with star power, featuring Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and Travis Scott. This was the kind of promotional machine that was originally expected to elevate Wilson's brand. Instead, Nike chose to pour those millions into Clark's future. Wilson reached her breaking point when the NBA footwear data surfaced. Seeing the numbers made the situation impossible to deny. Professional basketball players weren't just favoring Clark's shoes. They were actively choosing her player exclusives over Wilson's championship-proven signature line. Here was a multi-time WNBA champion and MVP, yet NBA stars still preferred sneakers with Caitlin Clark's name on them. And in a twist that made the contrast even sharper, Wilson's signature shoes were being worn by just one NBA player, her boyfriend Bam Adebayo. But Nike's decision wasn't driven by sales figures alone. Internally, Wilson's repeated public negativity had started to register as a serious brand risk. For a company aiming to connect with mainstream audiences, the constant controversy became impossible to work around. Nike's marketing team saw the pattern clearly. Every campaign involving Wilson required extra layers of caution, cleanup, and strategic messaging just to avoid backlash. Building positive, forward-looking narratives around her had become exhausting. and unsustainable. That realization pushed Nike toward a future that felt far less complicated and far more profitable.
Crazy because literally nobody asked, and sources close to Aja Wilson decided to answer anyway.
Nike also took note of how Aja Wilson carried herself online. Instead of using her platform to elevate the game, her social media presence increasingly centered on criticizing other players. Her remarks about Caitlin Clark's success, along with her habit of framing nearly every conversation around race, became ongoing problems for Nike's PR department. For global brands, that's a nightmare. They look for athletes who bring people together and expand the audience, not figures who repeatedly spark controversy and negative press. Wilson's public outburst only reinforced Nike's internal conclusion. Elite athletes understand that business decisions are part of the game. They respond with professionalism, not public meltdowns, when a company pivots based on performance and market reality. Her reaction said more than any sales chart ever could. It highlighted exactly why Nike felt it was necessary to step away, and why distancing the brand from Wilson had become the safest and smartest move.
Signature shoe also on the way. That was part of this deal as well. Nick DePaula, who's an expert on all that, wrote this on X as well. Caitlin Clark's anticipated Nike signature shoe is expected to launch in spring 2026. And then there's a quote from Caitlin: Nike's signature roster features all-time greats, and I am incredibly proud to join some of the best athletes in the world. I'm excited to share a first look at what we've created together.
Nike's leadership suddenly saw a clear opening to reinvent their entire women's basketball playbook. Aja Wilson's struggles removed the final obstacle, allowing the brand to go all in on Caitlin Clark without split focus or competing priorities. With no need to balance multiple signature pushes, Nike could now concentrate every dollar, every creative idea, and every resource into turning Clark's signature line into the most dominant women's basketball shoe campaign the company has ever produced. For the first time, the runway was wide open. This wasn't just a launch, it was the green light for Nike's most aggressive and ambitious women's basketball rollout to date. Wilson fading out meant Clark would receive undivided attention and unrestricted backing from the world's biggest sports brand. But Wilson's collapse wasn't simply about sales or shifting consumer tastes. The deeper issue traced back to the figure behind the shoe, and a long-standing pattern of behavior that had followed her for years. Even dating back to college, Wilson openly downplayed Clark's historic back-to-back national championship game appearances with Iowa. She brushed them off as meaningless because Clark didn't win the title, conveniently ignoring the reality that Clark carried Iowa to those finals without the luxury of a stacked roster filled with five-star talent, like the one Wilson had at South Carolina. That contrast told the real story, not just about basketball, but about mindset, leadership, and why one brand rose while the other quietly collapsed.
Just became the all-time scoring leader in women's college basketball. I'm curious, where would you rank her amongst all-time college players in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's
that resentment didn't stop at college. It carried straight into the WNBA. Once Caitlin Clark's popularity began exploding, Aja Wilson launched a series of calculated moves aimed directly at slowing that momentum. Her now infamous "I Have a Shoe Too" social media campaign wasn't coincidence. It was a last-ditch effort to redirect attention away from Clark's Nike announcement. For weeks, Wilson flooded her feeds with posts about her own sneaker, trying to compete with the organic buzz and fan-driven excitement surrounding Clark. It didn't stop there. Wilson openly questioned Clark's Nike endorsement before Clark had even played a single WNBA game. Then came months of subtle shots during Clark's rookie season, vague posts about being overlooked, skepticism about hype, and constant doubt cast on whether Clark had truly earned the spotlight. All of this unfolded while Clark was shattering attendance records and ultimately winning WNBA Rookie of the Year. The situation hit a point of no return when Wilson dismissed Clark's Time Magazine Athlete of the Year honor by calling it a race thing. That single comment sent shockwaves through the corporate world. Potential brand partners immediately took notice, and not in a good way. Executives began recognizing a pattern. Wilson had a habit of turning every discussion about Clark's accomplishments into controversy. For major corporations focused on broad appeal and positive messaging, that was a deal breaker. Quietly but decisively, brands started pulling back, unwilling to attach themselves to someone who made every success story divisive instead of celebratory.
Aja Wilson is her name. Quote, "It doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race.
Wilson has even gone on record claiming she commands the same speaking fees as Caitlin Clark. On the surface, that sounds impressive, until you look at the reality. Not a single major company has ever publicly announced booking Aja Wilson for a high-profile corporate appearance. There are no press releases, no promotional brag posts, no media buzz. Meanwhile, when brands land Caitlin Clark for conferences or speaking engagements, they celebrate it. Companies proudly issue announcements because Clark's name guarantees positive coverage, attention, and credibility. That contrast didn't go unnoticed. As Wilson's social media presence grew increasingly negative, corporate partners began quietly stepping away. They watched her repeatedly stir controversy instead of inspiring the next generation. And for corporations, that's a red line. They don't want ambassadors who thrive on conflict or target rising stars out of envy. They want figures who uplift the sport, unite audiences, and represent values they're proud to attach their brand to. In that world, the choice became obvious, and the market responded accordingly.
I kept thinking the best player in the league should have her own shoe, not just about shoes. You
think?
Yes. Right? I want to get your thoughts on that.
Because you don't need my thoughts. You already know my thoughts.
But that's how young kids, you know, when you're a fan of LeBron, you're a fan of Asia. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
She needs her own shoe. Let me answer that. She is the two-time MVP. I'll toot her horn because she won't. Olympic gold medalist, best defensive player, 2 years running. Her team's stop.
Nike's marketing team quickly realized there was no way to build a winning campaign around someone who constantly stirs controversy. Every Aja Wilson promotion demanded meticulous damage control and carefully crafted messaging just to prevent negative headlines. For brands, the goal is simple: align with athletes who create positive associations, inspire fans, and amplify the sport, not amplify personal grudges. Wilson's pattern of public outbursts and jealousy made her nearly impossible to market to mainstream audiences, the very audience that fuels 9-figure sneaker deals. Her repeated negativity sent a clear signal to potential partners. Working with Wilson meant signing up for constant drama and unpredictable, controversial statements. Corporations invest in athletes who lift up the game, excite young fans, and unite communities. Athletes who generate authentic, feel-good storylines. Wilson's envy-driven attacks on Caitlin Clark demonstrated exactly why top brands chose to invest elsewhere. In the end, it wasn't the market or timing that sank her shoe campaign. It was her unmarketable personality.
Said that you're wearing the new kicks coming up this season.
Yeah.
I honestly, for everyone that doesn't know the process that goes into making the sneakers, how long in advance has it been, or when does it all start? Do they come to you with a shoe, a bunch of shoes? Do you kind of get to tweak them here and there? How is that process?
While Aja Wilson's campaign was collapsing, Caitlin Clark was quietly collaborating with Nike on a project set to change the game of basketball footwear forever. On the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kels, Clark revealed exclusive details about her upcoming CC1 signature shoe, and even NFL stars were blown away. This wasn't just another pair of basketball sneakers. Clark described groundbreaking technology that Nike has never used in any basketball shoe before. The CC1 features full-length cushioning engineered specifically for her playing style and movement on the court. Nike didn't just design these shoes blindly. They spent countless hours analyzing game footage, studying Clark's shooting form, her cuts to the basket, and her defensive stance. Every detail of her motion was considered to create cushioning that adapts perfectly to her athletic demands. The result? Technology that responds dynamically to different movements during gameplay, giving Clark unmatched performance and comfort. A true revolution in basketball footwear.
Probably been a year and a half now of figuring out what exactly I want. And I think probably the most challenging part of it is you want it to be unique, but at the same time, I have to be comfortable wearing it. So I think we kind of you kind of take what you know you're comfortable in. Obviously I play in a lot of Kobe's, but at the same time, I don't want it to be a Kobe. I want it to be something very unique to me and a little bit different. And I think for myself, I kind of think about what's kind of been important to me when I think about shoes or sneakers. And I think just the chaseability of them and you want a certain sneaker or you want a certain colorway. So I think that's going to be probably the most fun part. Okay, great. You have the mold of the shoe and what it is and the technology that's in it. But more so, I think I'm more excited about like making the certain colorways or collabing with certain brands or whatever it is.
The creation of the CC1 wasn't quick or easy. It took more than 2 years of rigorous engineering and testing. Caitlin Clark personally signed off on every single design detail and performance feature, ensuring the shoe met her exact standards. She tested dozens of prototypes throughout her college career and her WNBA rookie season, giving Nike invaluable feedback on court feel, ankle support, and energy return. Every adjustment was incorporated to make sure the shoe performs at the highest level. During the New Heights podcast, Clark emphasized that the CC1 represents a complete reinvention of what basketball footwear can do for players, from rookies to pros. To achieve this, Nike had to use advanced materials and develop entirely new engineering solutions, even investing in specialized manufacturing equipment just to produce the unique components her shoe requires. This isn't just another sneaker, it's the culmination of years of innovation, collaboration, and relentless attention to detail. A shoe designed to elevate every move a player makes on the court.
You super involved in that process as well?
Yeah, for sure. And like, obviously I'm pretty like picky about what I wear. Like I like a certain two Kobe model. So like I knew whatever I was going to put in my own shoe, it needed to be like the equivalent of that technology or even better. And it's going to be even better. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because I think it'll get people excited about it. And I think even like the Chinese market, like I was talking to some people at Nike, like over in China, like they'll cut open the inside of the Kobe's and like show people the technology that's on the inside of the shoe because they're like, that means a lot to them. Like they want to know what they're getting out of the product.
Right. Wow.
So I thought that was like really fascinating.
They're about to cut that open? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. So it better be made well.
Nike's Blockbuster from Anywhere campaign, featuring Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, Travis Scott, and other major celebrities, highlights just how far the company is going to invest in Caitlin Clark's brand. The commercials don't just showcase her elite shooting skills, they position her alongside some of the biggest names in entertainment, signaling her rise as a mainstream icon. Nordstries. Marketing budgets that usually go to Nike's top male athletes were poured into Clark's signature launch, showing the company's unprecedented confidence in her potential. Internal projections suggest the CC1 line could generate 9-figure revenue annually within just a few years. Forecasts indicate that Clark's signature could quickly climb into the top 5 among all basketball shoe lines, standing shoulder to shoulder with established legends. Nike believes her combination of crossover appeal and revolutionary footwear technology will expand her reach far beyond the traditional women's basketball audience, redefining what a women's signature shoe can achieve.
I need that technology everywhere, so that's honestly been a huge part of, you know, the process and the creation of the shoe is like it being comfortable and exactly kind of what I need. And the technology that we're going to put into it isn't anything that they've ever put into a basketball shoe before, so I'm really excited about that.
That's exciting.
Caitlin Clark's hands-on approach during the CC1 development makes it clear this isn't a short-term play. It's a partnership built for lasting impact. She demanded precise performance features and refused to compromise on quality for speed, ensuring every detail met her standards. Nike's commitment to investing cutting-edge technology and unparalleled resources underscores just how serious they are about making Clark's signature line a powerhouse. When the CC1 drops, it won't just elevate women's basketball sneakers. It will stand toe-to-toe with the most recognized basketball signatures in the game. This shoe isn't just about representation, it's about competing at the highest level, claiming market share alongside the biggest names in basketball footwear, and setting a new standard for what a women's signature line can achieve.
Caitlin, you're a pretty good basketball player, but you make it from here.
Jason, show them how you make it rain from downtown.
Can you hit it from here, Caitlin? Gotta make your free throws.
From right here.
Yep. Holla! Bet you can't do that, Caitlin.
Aja Wilson's public meltdown over being sidelined by Nike only confirmed what the market had already decided. Authenticity and positivity always outperform jealousy and toxicity. Caitlin Clark's rise, from Iowa standout to WNBA sensation to Nike's largest ever women's basketball investment, proves what happens when immense talent meets genuine character and smart business choices. The CC1 launch this spring is more than a shoe drop, it's a historic moment, officially bringing women's basketball into the 9-figure endorsement era that was once reserved for male superstars. Wilson's behavior cost her a place in basketball history, while Clark is now set to define it. Are you ready for Caitlin Clark's signature shoe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on your screen, and we'll see you in the next one.